Senior Bowl, day 2 of practice is in the books. We saw some changes from yesterday. Some players stayed as good as they were. Some players got better from yesterday. We're going to talk about it all. The national team and American team practices coming up on the Draft Countdown podcast. Did it again, Shane. Everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Draft Countdown podcast. I'm your co-host, Brian Bosars, joined as always by my co-host, Shane P. Hallam. Shane, 84 days, 23 hours, 20 minutes, and 4 seconds away from the 2024 NFL Draft.
And you are in Mobile, of course, as you always are, but Senior Bowl week, so it has
This is the only week it matters.
That's the week. Yeah, this is the week that it matters for Brian. He's been at every practice. You went to the media event today. You've been going here all day.
You can see, I mean, there's some color in the cheeks, Shane. You were missing some perfect weather these first 2 practices. We've had mid-60s and sun shining, baby.
Yeah, like YouTube viewers get to actually see the redness in your face. It's nice.
Yeah. It's, the color in the cheeks, as they say. But it was a good day of practice, man. We saw a lot of good action today. I actually got to meet Travis May for the first time in person today. Good to meet him. Good friend of the show. And, yeah, you mentioned we had the media event. That's why I still haven't got up my practice report from today. Still kind of working my way through that. But got to enter as part of the CFB Nation YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that if you're not already. Me and Nino got to interview Spencer Rattler and Xavier Leggett from South Carolina for the Garnet Roost podcast that I also do. So that was kind of fun. But that's not what we're here to talk about, Shane. We're here to talk about the practices. And I guess we'll do like we did yesterday. We'll start with the national team because they went first. And I thought the quarterbacks regressed a little bit today. Did you see that in the practice film you watched? I thought Bo Nix and Michael Penix kind of both looked a little off today. Sam Hartman kind of looked the same, but, you know, I wasn't expecting much out of him anyway.
Yeah, I actually thought Bo Nix looked pretty awful today. It was a big difference from day 1 to day 2 for him. Just looked a lot more indecisive, in general. So sometimes it happens, especially with some of these coaching staffs. You know, you have different sometimes verbiage and plays coming in. It might have added more to his plate for day 2. I agree. Sam Hartman didn't look great again. I mean, it's Sam Hartman. So I thought Penix was probably the best of today, but none of them were stellar.
Yeah, you can tell. And the wind, by the way, the wind was blowing hard today.
Okay.
So that was but that did not seem to affect Penix. That guy can spin it, man.
Yeah.
He can spin it. So that's probably why of the 3 he looked the best today, because the wind was kicking. Especially it was still blowing hard in the second practice, but not as hard as it was this morning. So that kind of may have affected, because and if you go back and watch the one-on-one drills, they were throwing into the wind. So if you go back and watch those drills again, factor that in a little bit to the eval a little bit. The wind was it was whipping coming out of that end zone. 2 players I want to talk about that stood out yesterday continued to ascend. Shane, and I'm going to give you credit here, my man, because Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo is steady in first round of mock drafts now. He's definitely going to be steady in first round of mock drafts after this week. But you, sir, I believe were the first that had Quinyon Mitchell as a first round draft pick. And you mentioned yesterday he may be cornerback one off the board. I think he could definitely end up solidly in the top 20 after this week. What another showing he had today.
And I don't think people maybe understand how difficult it is to play corner in these practices. Like, you're kind of set up to fail because you're going one-on-one, no safety help. And the fact that Quinyon Mitchell is taking a lot of these receivers for a ride is amazing to me. I don't know. I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have, going to the Senior Bowl, watching these practices. But I've been down there and then watching the film here the past couple of years for over a decade now. I don't know if I remember a corner being this consistently good the first 2 days of Senior Bowl practice.
No, you're right. And it was fun today because the buzz yesterday was about Roman Wilson, right? The first 3 reps in one-on-ones, they lined up Roman Wilson with Quinyon Mitchell. Wilson got him one time, but Mitchell held, kept him in check. He had an interception on a pass in the one-on-ones off of covering Brendan Rice as well. So yeah, Quinyon Mitchell stud today, and I believe we're going to firmly lock him into that top 20 now.
Yeah, I think he's in. Like I said, I think corner one. He's probably. He does this again tomorrow. He was already kind of flirting with corner one for me in that range. I think this might be the tiebreaker here.
Another guy who was the buzz of town yesterday continued that buzz today, and that's Oregon center interior offensive lineman Jackson Powers Johnson. He's going in the first round now.
Yeah, I think I had him in the first. I definitely had him in my last mock in the first round and in the top 20. I think that's. I don't say nothing's a lock in January, but I want to say I think top 20 for Jackson Powers Johnson because he can play center, he can play guard, he's versatile, and I would just kind of watch through all the reps once. I don't remember him getting beat today from what I saw.
I was watching a little bit of Jeff Risdon and the Detroit Lions podcast last night, and they were just raving about him yesterday, saying they would love Detroit to draft him at 29, start him at guard, and then eventually move him over to replace Frank Ragnow. He's not making it 29.
I got said on the pod yesterday. I think the Steelers with Arthur Smith coming in, the center is a very big focal point of that offense. He feels like a Steelers guy, right? This just like dirty,
he really
interior
does.
lineman, yeah.
He really does. Do you remember back before the season started and Penn State cornerback Kalen King was getting mocked in the first round?
I do. I think we talked about him being a little overrated on the podcast, but
we're not going to do that anymore. At this point, I'm wondering if he's even going to get drafted.
Oh, let's not go too far.
Let's not get crazy. I think he's a day 3 pick, though. I really do. He is not good at all. I'm not sure he's won a rep yet in 2 days.
Yeah, that's rough. I think it was another rough day. I think you're right. I saw the same thing. I think it's probably puts him outside of the top 10 corners for sure in this draft. And now when you're comparing him to other guys, out there, the Chau Smith-Wades and Chris Abrams Drains of the world, it's like, I might rather those guys than Kalen King at this point.
Well, I don't know about Chau Smith-Wade. He's had a rough 2 days as well, along with we mentioned Willie Drew from Virginia State, another rough go of it for him. I saw, was it Bucky Brooks had Tez Walker mocked in his first mock draft, had him in the first round. He's got speed, man, and he can separate, but man, that dude had some troubles with the hands today. I had him for at least 3 drops. There was probably more than that.
Yeah, I thought yesterday he, didn't have like perfect reps. There were a couple bad ones, but for the most part, I was impressed with separation. I thought today Tez Walker's one of the worst receivers that I saw. Um, not only the drops, which is bad, but even just in some of the man coverage, I felt like today. I don't know if he was pressing more or sure the coaches have him try something different, but he was kind of more upright. He wasn't really using his feet and that quickness to his advantage and getting the separation that I would expect. So definitely, yeah, on my down list, the only receiver that I was like, oh, this is a bad day today.
Are we talking enough about Rice wide receiver Luke McCaffrey?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing well. He's having a good week. I still just don't see the upside. I mean, I think we're talking the day 3 receiver. That's nice.
That's fair. A receiver who I think is a lot better than Luke McCaffrey, who I think is rising after this week, especially as Florida's Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, look, and I think this is something to put in context too, similar to the combine. We'll talk about it when we get there. You want to set expectations, and then if players exceed those expectations, then you move them up. I think we expected this from Ricky Pearsall. The route running and the winning. I think the consistency that he's doing it at, maybe I didn't expect. I think that absolutely gives him a bump. It's a deep class, so it's always tough to gauge the round in this receiver class. But I think round 3, well within his possible outcomes here.
I was talking to Pete Smith about Pearsall today, and we both love him and everything he's done in practice. But he's like, it's going to be a scheme thing for him, right? And where he's going to end up coming off the board, because similar to Khalil Shakir coming out of Boise and with Buffalo, right? That's what Pete was like mentioning him with in the same conversation. Like, you think these guys are going to contribute a lot, and then they end up going in the 5th round.
Just because there is that one spot, there's that slot spot where, like you said, not every offense, like Pete said, not every offense is ever going to use Ricky Pearsall. So if 12 teams don't have him on their board, it gets more difficult maybe to go in a projected round 3.
Similar to, almost the way Puka Nacua fell last year. I think we all liked him as a player, but he ends up falling into the 5th round and then sets the rookie receiving record. Not saying that's what's going to happen with Ricky Pearsall, but it's a similar track maybe. I don't really have any positive or overly positive notes from Jacob Cowing today, but I do want to note that I saw him at the media day, and this may be the smallest human being I've ever stood next to.
like in your life?
Maybe not in my life, but as a football player.
Yeah.
He is definitely up there with one of the smallest football players I've ever stood beside in person. And I'm not talking about just height-wise, because he's short. It's weight-wise as well. He's slight.
And I think we're moving in a direction where that is becoming more acceptable at the receiver position. Now, Cowing, I think, is definitely a step down from the rest of the group. And I think that's going to be the same deal. I think there's going to be a lot of offenses that are like, we're not taking a guy like this, right? And then there's going to be some more creative ones that like it, and I think it puts him on that day 2, day 3 border.
I mean, if you're giving 10 teams a choice between him and, say, Malachi Corley, like 8 out of 10 are taking Corley, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Corley is going to fit a lot more of those teams than Jacob Cowing is.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal route runner, though. Phenomenal.
Yeah, look, get him in the right spot, and things are going to take off.
Any other receivers or DBs that you want to speak on right quick?
No, I think we hit everyone from the national team that I had, so that was good.
All right, let's move on to some of the other guys I thought jumped out to me from this national team practice. Saw Javon Solomon, the edge rusher from Troy, in the linebacker drills. No, he is not a stand up and cover guy. Let's just write that off now. That's done. He's hand in the ground, go get him, which may not be great because he's undersized. But in the full team drills, he beat Fuaga on a around the bend there, to the point that Fuaga just basically hooked him in a WWE bear hug there and just brought him down with him. So he can rush the passer, but he's not a stand-up linebacker.
Yeah, I just have a tough time placing Javon Solomon. Like you said, I think there is that pass rush ability, which is so much needed for so many teams in the NFL, but he can't be. I don't think he can be a full-time edge rusher every play. So, how do you kind of qualify that? A lot of these stand-up, a lot of teams are moving to more stand-up rushers. I don't think, like you said, I don't think he can play that. So it's another very limiting player, kind of the old tweener tag gets thrown around.
Just when you thought we were done with the tweener tag, it's making a comeback for real. And there's a lot of guys, I will say this, in this game, I think, that are fitting in that tweener mode. One I want to talk about in a second, and Brandon Dorless is another, I think, is a bit tweenerish.
I mean, I was really high on him. He had a great season, but yeah, I think I struggle with where Brandon Dorless is going to play in the NFL. You almost need kind of a 5-tech position, or some of these, big D lines that like to put, 5, sometimes 6-tech. I think he could play. It's just going to be a tough fit. So I think he's falling. He cut weight. Obviously, I feel like his agent's kind of trying to push him to edge rusher, but Dorless, I don't think is that necessarily.
No, I thought he had a good day today, but I think Mike Hall from Ohio State is in that same category.
I thought he had a really good day rushing the passer, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's not pushing. He's not putting these linemen on skates. Mike Hall is not going to be the big strength, get under the pads guy and, attack the run and fill a gap. But, he gets low, and he did well on some of the 11-11s. Rushing the passer got through the line really quick. So it was a much better day, I thought, than day one.
Yeah, in the team drills, he had a sack and he had a pass breakup. So I thought he did a good job out there today. Talisay Fuaga, the offensive tackle from Oregon State, was dominant yesterday in reps. In the team drills, man, he struggled. I mentioned earlier the bear hug tackle on Solomon when he got beat. Adiza Isaac from Penn State beat him 2 consecutive reps with speed and bend. Is that an issue to worry about?
I wouldn't worry too much about it. The one-on-ones were still phenomenal for him. I thought it was another.
I haven't seen those yet. So.
Yeah, I thought it was another great day. I don't think he really maybe got beat once, from what I remember. So I put a little more stock in that. But it's. I think Fuaga's entering that conversation for offense. In that top. I think we got a big 3 at offensive tackle now. I think he's entered that conversation. But some concerns when you have some of these smaller rushers getting past you. Definitely something to look at.
Oh, let's see what else I have here. The running backs weren't in my. I wasn't paying that much attention to them. Weren't as noticeable for me. Maybe you saw more on tape, but the one running back that did stand out to me was your guy, South Dakota State, Isaiah Davis. Great vision today. I saw in a couple of runs in the team drill. What do you think about what Davis has done these first 2 days, and any other running backs that stood out to you?
I think Davis has been solid. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the full team stuff, Davis was good. It's tough being a 220-pound running back and trying to stand out at a practice. I hope Davis plays in the game. I think that could be where he excels. I'll tell you, the guy that I don't like very much, but I thought maybe had the best day was Kamani Vidal from Troy for the national team. Was catching passes in those drills. Had a decent 11-on-11s. I thought he had a good day as well.
I tell you, between Rasheen Ali in day 1 and Kamani Vidal day 2, it ain't a good day for Shane Hallam running backs that he doesn't like.
Look, Like we might not have a running back go in the first 2 rounds, so we're pulling at something here.
We're just looking, man. We're grasping at straws
Trying.
here. Try, especially for you fantasy guys, right? This is horrible for you guys, isn't it?
Just wait till the quarterbacks next year. We're gonna get hit even harder.
Oh man. One injury note, a couple of injury notes. Brennan Jackson, the Washington State edge rusher, was in a boot today. Craig Stevens, AO.com, talked to him at the media event, said they're listing him as day to day. He's not practicing the rest of the week or the game, but he should be good to go. Like nothing serious to prevent him going forward. So that's good. It just really sucks for him that he got his ankle rolled before any of the drills yesterday. Like it happened in like some of the practice stuff or the install stuff, and that just sucks that he didn't get to do any of the one-on-ones or anything at all.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but that's fine. At least he'll be fine. But you'd rather be cautious and not make it worse.
Right. And Michigan interior offensive lineman Trevor Keegan was out today with back spasms. His practice/game status unknown at the time.
That's fair. Hopefully he'll be able to play. Be good. A couple more O linemen. Okay. Tanner Bortolini, after a poor day one, I thought bounced back and played pretty well. Some good drive. Dominic Pooney from Kansas as well. It's a name I wrote down that impressed me. And I didn't get to mention yesterday about Dwayne Carter from Duke yesterday. Not quite as good today.
In the one-on-ones, I thought he did not handle himself well, but the team drills, I thought yesterday he was game wrecking in those drills.
Yeah. So that was it was kind of D-line, O-line for me.
I think I forgot to mention him yesterday as well, but I have been impressed by Florida interior offensive lineman Kingsley Egwakun. He has been really good. He was yesterday. I haven't, like I said, I haven't watched the offensive line, defensive line one-on-ones today, but yesterday he was really good. As well as I think I did mention Isaiah Adams yesterday, the Illinois interior offensive line, but he has repped in the one-on-ones at all 5 positions, both tackles, both guards, and center.
That man
is trying to get drafted.
Yeah, he's
I love it.
Moving up. He had a good day today too. It was solid.
Yeah, so good for him. Anybody else on the national team before we move on?
Letu Latu, monster, the cross chop, man. He's just.
Did you see that somebody was put up a video yesterday? They said you have to love this plan he goes in with. Like he already had a counter for the counter. And and it's just unbelievable how good he is, man. God, I hope his medicals check out.
Yeah, if they check out, I'm having top 10. And I got to shout out my boy Austin Booker. Had a great day. Beat Jordan Morgan twice. Beat Roger Rosengarten in the pit. So keep an eye out for Austin Booker. And then Peyton Wilson, who I kind of bashed yesterday, I thought bounced back. The team drills was phenomenal. So
I haven't heard a whole lot about Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, he's. I haven't been super impressed, when you're talking about like a potential first, second round tackle.
Same with Patrick Paul for that matter.
I thought Paul was good yesterday. Today I didn't write his name down, so that's usually
not a good
nothing
sign.
Outstanding. Yeah. And Sione Vaki getting some running back reps today.
Yes, I want to talk about that because Paul has been adamant that he thinks Sione Vaki. He also had slot receiver reps today.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Sione Vaki, safety for
Utah.
Utah got some running back reps and some slot receiver reps today.
And my big down was Ladarius Henderson from Michigan. Just could not hold anyone. I mean, he was going backwards every single rep. Team drills and one-on-ones. It was bad for Ladarius Henderson today.
This is the equivalent of me talking bad about Tyler Davis yesterday. You know this, right?
Yeah, I guess it's fair. I can't really bash the Michigan guys, but like Henderson, a great national championship game, but Senior Bowl week not kind to Ladarius Henderson.
All right, let's move on to the American team now. Just wanted to note, I noted about the national team yesterday. American team had 6 different guys lined up to return punts today. Ladd McConkey was one of them, and then they were seeing how many punts Ladd McConkey could field while holding balls in his hand. At one point, they blew the whistle. He had 3 balls. He had already fielded one with 1 ball. Then he had another one. He had 2. Then fielded the 3rd ball. And before he could try to field the 4th one, they blew the whistle and went to another drill. So I was at this point, I was curious to how this was going to happen.
Right.
But I will say, I don't know who's running the American team practice. I can't remember what the coach is, but this was the worst practice we've ever sat through.
Ooh.
Like, this was like, people were asking if Matt Patricia was running the practice today.
Yikes.
It was bad. Dude, they were 30 minutes after practice started before they did anything of note.
I hate when that happens because you're just sitting there like I can't write anything.
Jimmy says they got some more offensive linemen to bring up. They actually did bring up one today from the Hula that they didn't announce. Jeremy Flax from Kentucky, who they brought up from the Hula, ironically, got hurt yesterday, and they replaced him with Travis Glover from Georgia State.
Interesting.
I thought it was the same guy because the damn helmet was blue and had a cat on it. It took me a second before I realized it was a different guy.
You got to differentiate the cats out there, Brad.
Hey, man, it's what can I say? Panther, Wildcat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that different.
Doesn't matter. Let's get into these running backs, wide receivers and DBs here for the American team. And thankfully, Xavier Legette bounced back today.
Yeah,
had a good day, separated well, made some great catches.
Some crazy catches.
Crazy catches today. Glad to see it. I was getting worried.
Yeah, it was a nice bounce back. We said it yesterday. Like, one day for day one, it's not the end of the world. I mean, a leaping catch, like Xavier Legette was putting it out there. I think maybe got comfortable, and we saw it. I think still some separation struggles,
right.
Which is fine. But I do think it was, he was on the up list today.
Speaking of South Carolina players who bounced back today, Spencer Rattler might have been the best quarterback on the American team today. I'm not even going to say might. He was the best quarterback on the American team today. And he threw some great balls today. And when a player catches the ball and you can hear it from the bleachers, you know that man is throwing it with some velocity. And Rattler was doing that today. I can't say the same for Joe Milton, who, he has accuracy issues.
Yeah, rough day for Michael Pratt as well.
Yeah.
So it was Rattler was definitely the best.
I did think that Carter Bradley threw some good balls today.
He's had 2 good days, to be honest with you, for my expectations at least.
For a guy who we didn't think that was what we think was basically a home team add-in. He's done himself well. Good for Carter Bradley. Looking at the notes here, some others. Ladd McConkey didn't get that same separation today, did he?
No, a little tough. Still a couple good routes, but then there were some that I think the corners could anticipate what Ladd McConkey was going to do. I don't know if he was selling it or whatever, but they were reading him well. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I want to see.
I think the most impressive receiver I saw today for the American team, outside of one drop, was Louisville's Jamari Thrash.
We talked about it yesterday. I think Jamari Thrash had a good day yesterday. I think placing him in the draft is going to be difficult. Probably still a day 3 pick, but there's a lot of upside for Thrash as a number 3, number 4 who can catch a touchdown here and make a big play there. So I agree. It's a good day.
Not a bad day for Johnny Wilson either from Florida State.
He was on my list. I mean, day 1, I thought the adjustment to making this work was tough. I think Johnny Wilson, he's going to be a tight end, right? Like at 235 pounds. I feel like that's what has to happen. But he looked good playing the slot, kind of big slot, and I thought the footwork was a lot better today than it was yesterday.
No doubt about it. Trying to see any of these DBs jumped out to me.
I liked Jalen Simpson both days. I thought the safety from Auburn, made some plays in the team drills. Looked like he was really the quickest to read, react, respond to some of the passing game. So Jalen Simpson, a name I definitely want to highlight. But I didn't have a lot of DB names here on the good side.
Quintan Oladapo, Oregon State, I thought solid in coverage as well.
Yeah, he had a good day as well. For on the other side for the national team, but I thought it was Oladapo was a big guy, but you could see the explosion with that size. Pretty impressive to be kind of a two-way safety.
It just hit me who the most impressive DB was on the American team today. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Louisville.
Yes. Yeah, good call.
Great day.
I would have never guessed that.
Did not have that on the bingo card, right?
But he might get the biggest bump on my board from anyone in the Senior Bowl. I thought both these Jarvis Brownlee Jr. from Louisville. Stuck in. He's not a big dude, but he was getting physical too. He wasn't afraid to run up, hit someone, swat at the ball. Very impressive.
Yeah. Anybody stick out to you receiver wise in a negative way?
No, nothing was. I don't think anyone was like super bad on the American side today. From the receivers, there's no one like Jaquan Jackson made a couple plays. I haven't written Anaya Smith down much. I don't know if you have any insight there, but nothing's stood out to me.
I have really wanted these past 2 days. I've wanted to see Anaya Smith jump out because I'm a big. You know this. I've been a big fan for 2 years now. Smith, it's not happening out there, man. I don't know what's the problem. Is it maybe he's just. I don't know. He's used to playing with bad quarterbacks, so I mean, that shouldn't be the issue. I don't know what it is, what his deal is.
It's indecisiveness, wasted movement. Like he just doesn't seem to want to separate too much.
Yeah. How about defensively? Any of these DBs?
Bo Braid got beat again.
Yeah.
It was another rough day deep for him. Jaquan Jackson beat Bo Braid deep. So maybe some more highlights like than the whole day or whatever. But
I'm glad you brought up Jaquan Jackson. I have been impressed with that guy.
Yeah,
these 2 days. Yes, smaller, definitely one of these slot guys, but I mean he's what I would wanted Anaya Smith to be, and Jaquan Jackson has been that in these practices. So good on him. Pratt had some dropped INTs today, man, in the team drill. It just had one number 4 dropped it. DJ James, right in the midst, couldn't finish, but he jumped a route there. And you said Michael Pratt wasn't the best day.
No, not the best day. Some of those threw some would-be interceptions, I think, in a real game.
Thought running back Dejan Edwards had another good day for the American team. He had a big run, and a guy we should I didn't watch the American team tape before we did the show last night, or I would have talked about Charles Turner, the interior offensive lineman from LSU, who has been a monster or was a monster yesterday, and he was the man that opened up the big hole today for Edwards.
I think Turner's been kind of rock solid, and especially in the team drills. I think he feels a lot more comfortable. Like Dejan Edwards today. I liked Ray Davis again. I thought was really solid. Solid running back play from this whole group.
Jimmy brings up a good one here. Saw a clip. Eric Watts getting a big win over Christian Jones in one-on-ones. I think Eric Watts has had some good wins. these first 2 days of practice. He's not out of place.
I think he's played his way into getting drafted. I think Christian Jones it wasn't the only time that he got beat today. So the offensive tackle from Texas. But UConn's Eric Watts, pass rusher to know for sure.
Quick question in the chat here. Is there a left tackle in Mobile that you can see this being on the board for the Saints at 14 that's in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Talise Fuaga from Oregon State. I think if he's sitting there at 14, that's a great fit for New Orleans. I think outside of that, left tackle wise is a little bit tough. I think you could project a guy like Tyler Guyton, from Oklahoma, played more right tackle. I think he could fit.
Pete was noticing at the media event about Tyler Guyton, said he is a very compactly built 300-plus pound man.
And I think sometimes it's good, because it's harder to move those compact offensive tackles. Even if you get under the pads, there's enough beef there and anchor to hold them in when sometimes you have these kind of bigger guys that the weight's not centered, to really hold that anchor in.
Well, you've watched the offensive line, defensive line one-on-ones today. I haven't had a chance to yet. Who were some of the standouts for you from the American team while we're on the subject of offensive linemen and such that really jumped out to you positively, or we'll start with positive first?
Yeah, Christian Haynes from UConn, a dominant day. Kind of the big highlight was against Jordan Jefferson, the D-lineman for LSU, who struggled throughout the day. And you saw that Haynes would not let go of Jefferson.
Jefferson didn't take that well.
Yeah, ripped off Haynes' helmet, and it looked like they were gonna throw
it across the field. Yeah.
Not a great look. I think ultimately, you can get frustrated, but it wasn't. I don't think Haynes did anything wrong. I don't know. It's like there's nothing dirty here. So I don't know. Maybe he said something. I don't know what happened, but even outside of that, Haynes was pretty dominant. Tyler Guyton had another solid day for him. Just really consistent. I don't really think. Maybe there's one rep where Guyton got beat, but not much. And then a guy that surprised me today, Javian Cohen, the interior lineman for Miami. Really solid day. Some good push and run blocking in the team drills.
I saw some clips on Twitter, so I know he had a great day yesterday, Bo Limmer from Arkansas, but he got his ass worked by Tavondre Sweat, who I guess got tired of everybody making fun of his weight yesterday.
Oh, Sweat was on fire today, man. He was like, you could see. I mean, you might be right, because you could see at the beginning of every rep, like he is building up, and he just popped every single person. And you get a 350-pound guy that's popping you. You're not expecting that.
He played pissed off today in practice. You could see it, especially in those drills. It was fun to see what I saw. We haven't talked about him yet, so I'm just going to ask you a couple of interior guys we haven't really spoke about. Andrew Ram from Oklahoma, and Layden Robinson, Texas A&M. Anything from those two guys?
Yeah, I thought Ram was solid today. He's not overwhelming. He's not getting a big push in the run game. He doesn't look super athletic, but kind of getting the little things done, which for center usually works, right? I think sometimes that can work for you. Layden Robinson, once again, nothing that's like, oh, this guy's awful, but he's not doing anything to really impress me here, where I think he needed to impress. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. But yeah, Layden Robinson kind of on my, keep him where he is, the eval's right list.
Yeah, speaking of Delmar Glaze, he's had a pretty solid couple of days here. The Maryland offensive tackle, a guy that I don't think we really were thinking much of before this week. Might have to go back to the tape on him a little bit.
Yeah, he's played solid. I think I probably should go back to the tape and probably watch him a little bit more because Maryland's offense was a little bit messy this year. But solid days.
Yeah, I want to shout out Missouri Darius Robinson, their defensive line. He's had a good couple of days. Can he? I mean, We've got him as a interior defensive lineman at 6'5", 286, 34 and 3/4 arms, almost 84.5-inch wingspan. Is he a guy that, I mean, is there any reason he can't play the edge?
I think we're gonna need to move him to edge, and I think he's more than a shout out. I thought he might have had the best day of anyone at the Senior Bowl today. I think Darius Robinson's playing his way into the first round. Like, that's how good Darius Robinson has been to me. Like every single rep today. I mean, just boom, boom. He's passed. Like, it was crazy to me. I think Darius Robinson might be so far my biggest stock up, talking 2-3 round jump.
We're going to have fun Friday night with this. How many Senior Bowlers are going in the first round? I think we're going to get some high numbers this year, my man.
I think double digits is coming, baby.
Oh, I can't wait. So Darius Robinson might be that when we ask the question, guy I wasn't high on coming in, but I am now. That might be your answer, huh?
Well, yeah. If no one steals it from me, I think I got to do it.
There you go. We'll let you have have that one, right? So yeah, I mean, that's all I got. Like, so we talked quarterback. I think we talked everything.
Yeah, I think only other guy I had was Trevin Wallace, linebacker from Kentucky. I liked today. So.
Yeah, solid day today. I did. He was in some of the coverage drills, the one-on-ones. They moved the running backs and linebackers over there at one point, and so he was doing a solid job in coverage. I did write that down as well. Was Trevin Wallace, one of the younger linebackers here. Well, let me say this: of all we're talking about, younger linebackers, James Williams, Miami. He's a project, sir.
Right. I think Dave. Day 3.
I would love to be able to get him in that 4th round area and just have him inactive for most of the season and just try to develop him, because I think there's a lot, especially frame wise, to love. But man, he is raw as a player right now.
He didn't play special teams in college, but like I want to see him play kickoff and punt. I want to see him as a gunner, right? Like he could smash that.
I do want to. While I'm thinking about it, Miami safety Cameron Kinchins. He's one of the best players here on defense. I mean, everything he does is so fundamentally sound.
Yeah, very solid. Even when even when a receiver caught a ball over him or whatever. I mean, Kinchins was in position. He was doing the things you wanted to see. I think we're going to debate who that top safety is. I think Kinchins is playing his way into being that.
Yeah, so I'm with you. All right, so that's going to do it. That's the end of. We'll wrap this thing up here. That's the end of day 2 of practice. So that leaves us one more day. One more day of practice here, Shane. Name one player you want to see salvage what the first 2 days?
I want to see Kalen King salvage his day, the corner from Penn State. I would like to see a bounce back for day 3, show off that athleticism. Oh, here's a spark. I hope we don't. I hate when we get a guy who was a first round pick before the season and then, like you said, I mean, completely falls out of the draft or 6th, 7th round. It's like, oh my gosh. So I hope he could salvage the day, the week, and show us something.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's been a rough go. I think for me, the one guy I kind of want to see, pick it up a little bit is I don't know. The low hanging. I have loved Anais Smith, so I'll stick with that low hanging fruit here. He's a guy I want to see show something on day 3 because it just hasn't been there these first 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so that's going to do it for tonight's edition of the special edition of the Draft Countdown Podcast. Our day 2 recap of the Reese's Senior Bowl is over. As always, if you're new to the YouTube channel, subscribe here. we've got 3 more shows this week. Shane, you won't be with me tomorrow night. Paul's going to be with me tomorrow night. And then we'll have Paul and Scott here Friday night for our annual Grapico draft party there. We'll have that Friday night. And then Saturday, I will probably go solo with a quick game recap. But you'll definitely want to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live with these shows each and every week. You can always listen to these shows on audio platforms, be it Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever that you listen to your podcasts. Those are generally uploaded within 30 minutes after the show is over. So that should definitely be the case again tonight. So, but leave us a 5-star review and share that out as well. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft. Follow Shane on Twitter at Shane P. Howell. Follow Draft Countdown on Twitter at Draft Countdown. And go to draftcountdown.com for all of your daily NFL draft needs. For Shane, I'm Brian. Good night, everybody.